UEFA threatened to boycott the World Cup over FIFA's proposal to sell stakes in the competition, in a move that could make President Gianni Infantino millions. European nations are to hold discussions over boycotting the World Cup after UEFA hit out at a leaked FIFA plan to sell stakes in the competition in a move that could make its president Gianni Infantino millions. News broke in the Times on Tuesday afternoon that FIFA boss Infantino was considering selling parts of the tournament to private investors and forming a new company in a deal that could be worth around £15 billion. The report added that Infantino could become the commissioner of that company once his role at FIFA ends in 2031, a highly lucrative position that estimates suggest could pay him more than $50 million a year. The bank JPMorgan is said to be handling the process, and the Donald Trump administration is understood to have been consulted.
Tired of spending forever chopping vegetables? This all-in-one prep tool dices and spiralizes ingredients directly into a handy container, helping make salads, sides, and meal prep faster and less messy. Want to get the best verified deal and see full details? Visit grabdeal.us/2 right now.
The proposal has already received widespread criticism from across football, with one source telling The Times it would be a nuclear bomb for the sport and another arguing it would potentially be much worse than the European Super League. Now, according to Sky, UEFA members are set to hold an emergency meeting this week to discuss the possibility of skipping the competition and other details to oppose Infantino's ideas. FIFA are reportedly planning to sell stakes in the World Cup in a hugely contentious move. UEFA launched a strongly worded statement slamming plans that crossed a line, pictured UEFA President Alexander Ceferin. That could mean the likes of World Cup holders Spain, as well as semi-finalists England and France, would no longer take part in the competition. It is understood the English FA were completely unaware of the proposal before it was made public, and UEFA, which has been critical of FIFA and Infantino's actions in recent times, hit out at the plans almost immediately. This crosses a line that football's governing institutions should never cross, they said in a statement. So should every national football association. So should every stakeholder: leagues, clubs, players, supporters, governments, and everyone who cares about the future of the game. The soul and governance of football are not assets to trade, especially with zero transparency as to who gains financially. None of us are the owners of football. It is not FIFA's to sell. The potential boycott could come as early as next year, with the Women's World Cup set to take place in Brazil in the summer. It's understood UEFA do have some pulling power, with UEFA President Alexander Ceferin making it clear 5 years ago that European nations would not participate in a World Cup held every 2 years instead of the current 4. Infantino said, "Our next stage of growth needs a structure built for it, one where the commercial side of the game operates as a focused, dedicated business, with its values shared more and better all around the world." Joshua Kushner, the brother of Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared, was reported to be one of the potential investors. Every FIFA member association should have an opportunity to seek a fair share of the available funding to shape its own future, deciding for itself rather than relying on others. This is about the democratization of football worldwide. Former FIFA president Sepp Blatter condemned the governing body's reported plan. The close relationship between the FIFA president and the U.S. president has reached a financial dimension that is deeply damaging football. Blatter wrote on ex-Prime Minister Andy Burnham also hit out at FIFA on social media, writing, "No one has the right to sell our game. Let me say this very directly. Football does not belong to investors. It belongs to the people who fill the stands and who stand on the touchline week in, week out, rain or shine. It is the greatest competition in world sport, and it was never anyone's to sell. Dress the deal up however you like. Once you have sold a piece of it, you have sold out. It always has, and it always will. If the move was to go ahead, the global football calendar would likely be affected. For example, the Men's and Women's World Cup may be expanded or held more regularly than every 4 years, while the Club World Cup could face similar changes. As part of the proposal, all 211 member associations would have stakes that would make up 20% of the total company and be worth around $20 million, £15 million each. That is a larger figure than many of their annual revenues, and they would be given the option to sell them to raise funds. FIFA would retain a majority stake in the new entity, and private investors would be able to take on minority stakes. FIFA is a not-for-profit organization and enjoys tax-free status at its HQ in Switzerland. For the most recent cycle of 2020-2026, their revenue is expected to be around $15 billion, £11.3 billion, much of which came from this summer's World Cup, meaning this would provide a lucrative opportunity for individuals to be involved in. The Times added that the blueprint for the potential selling of stakes has been discussed among senior FIFA figures and potential investors, which could include Joshua Kushner, the brother of Trump's son-in-law Jared, and they have signed non-disclosure agreements. Some of those potential investors are understood to have even spoken internally about buying FIFA. Infantino's proposed new role could be extremely lucrative. Figures close to the plan are said to see it on a par with the NFL, whose Commissioner Roger Goodell earns about $64 million a year. The reports come at a time when Infantino is already under fire for a variety of reasons following the World Cup. This includes the U.S. visa restrictions that affected supporters and officials from many countries, the extremely high prices of tickets, and Infantino's links with Trump, which came to a head after Folarin Balogun's red card was suspended following a phone call by the U.S. president to the Swiss administrator. When contacted for comment, FIFA confirmed plans to launch a new body called FIFA Forward Enterprise, which they described as a controlled subsidiary consolidating FIFA's commercial and event operations. They added that FIFA would retain sole control of FFE and exclusive authority over football governance, competitions, match calendar, and all regulatory and sporting decisions, and claimed the move would increase the funding available to all 211 member associations. Daily Mail Sport also contacted the White House for comment.